Conference. My guest this evening is the distinguished former senator and former presidential candidate from the state of Colorado. Please welcome Gary Hart. Gary? How you doing? How you doing, man?
Good to see you. Thank you.
Over here. So, nice to have you here, Mr. Hart.
My pleasure. You're going to do well when you say what's on your mind.
Well, I couldn't afford a therapist anymore. I had to get a TV show. I see it all coming down to education is the big thing myself. I think that we're not caring enough for the children of this country. I don't think teachers are respected enough. I'd like to know what you think the big problem with America is right now.
Well, I think it's hard to disagree with that. One of the principal founders of this country, Thomas Jefferson, thought that the public education system, that the democracy would not work without a public education system that worked. And to the degree that's in peril, this country's in peril. But I think even more, we're at the end of an age that's run out of steam, and we don't have the leadership to define the new age. And certainly education is going to play a key role in that.
Well, define for me the age that has run out of steam. How did you see that age, and
well,
what
it
have
was
we
an age,
morphed to?
It was an age dominated by a single enemy, communism.
Right.
We told ourselves when we defeated communism the world would be fine, and it didn't turn out that way. The communists didn't blow up those 168 people down in Oklahoma City. We told ourselves men were the smartest and they could run the world, and we tried that and it hasn't worked. So I think the new age, the age that's coming, certainly going to have equality of the genders. We told ourselves we could pollute the planet endlessly and we wouldn't pay a price for it, that the air and the water and the land were free goods, and that didn't turn out. That myth collapsed as well. So I think all of the myths of the 20th century are sort of disappearing from under us.
Okay, what do we have to do now as we enter the new century to salvage this whole thing? What do you think are the 3 key steps we have to take to make this country?
I think shake up the political system. You're absolutely right. I think most Americans believe that. Somebody asked me the other day if I would join a third party. I said, I don't think we even have a second one. We have a one-party system, and basically it's run by the establishment center, controlled by the elite power structure in America. And I think most Americans are fed up with it. They don't see a reform party in the Democratic Party, and the other party is controlled by fairly extreme people.
When you were existing right smack dab in the middle of that system, that one-party system that you sort of, well, I think we all find it undesirable. Did you feel you had made a deal with the devil? Had you compromised yourself to exist in there?
Not in the first campaign, the '84 campaign, because I was an outsider, a reform candidate. But after '84, getting ready for '88, I was the front runner at that point. And the party's attitude towards me and the power structure in the party, the constituency group's attitude totally changed. And they were then beginning to want to make arrangements on the basis that I was going to be president.
Is that a horrible moment for a man who
is.
seems reasonably well thought out, where you have that scene from The Candidate with Robert Redford where they literally come to you and say, listen, we liked your ideas, that's why we're kind of onto your scent in the first place, but now if you really want to go the whole 9 yards, you got to whore it up a little. Is that a horrible moment?
It is a horrible moment and very disillusioning, but at least I thought I had positioned myself in a way that I wouldn't be controlled by it.
What have you been doing? Now, where have you been?
International law and business. I go to Russia a lot, China, Vietnam, trying to help American companies get into the emerging markets. Because I think, you know, the hope for young people in this country, if they get the kind of education, is in the international arena of one kind or another. And to think that we can sit here and pull up the drawbridge is folly. It'll never happen.
We have a phone call for you live, line 5. We've got Todd from Wichita, Kansas. Todd, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Evening, sir. How you doing?
Great. Hey, I was wondering what Gary and what yourself thought about the president's response or the non-response to the events in Bosnia.
Go ahead, you're our guest. You feel
Bosnia is a...
Somebody look up Bosnia.
Bosnia...
my crack staff.
Bosnia is the future. We better figure out what the policy ought to be in Bosnia, because we're going to see a lot of Bosnias. It's not just that place. It is where we are going to confront the future, and we cannot go it alone. On the one hand, we can't leave it for others to solve if people are being slaughtered, as the minorities in Bosnia are. On the other hand, we can't Gulf War anymore. Someone said about Kuwait, if their major national product had been papayas instead of oil, we wouldn't have sent 500,000 people there. So we cannot be the policeman of the world. On the other hand, we can't sit by and let people be slaughtered. I think the solution is essentially the kind of bold thinking that went on in this country in 45, 6, and 7, and that is to design a whole new set of international institutions, including what would be an international police force. That's never going to happen because the militias are already talking about the UN Army taking over the United States. But unless we want American troops to die in these foreign countries, we're going to have a multinational force to put down the rebels like the Serbs.
Unfortunately, though, I don't think we have the man at the helm now to be the architect of that grand design. You know, I mean, I see certain strengths in Bill Clinton, but I think he's done more for waffling than ego. We've got another call. Line 3, we've got Jay from Lindenberg, Germany. Well, we're not even on in Germany, are we?
Actually, we've done a little bit of hot wiring on a satellite dish to get you a dentist, and we're really glad to see you.
Wow, beautiful, Jay. Talking to a couple stone brainiacs from Weird Science. What's happening in Germany, man? Go ahead.
Well, we're just hanging back watching you, and I have a question. I'm a big fan of yours, Dennis. I'm a big fan of Mr. Hart's. And I have a question. Do you think during the '88 campaign that the media blew an isolated incident out of proportion and turned you into some kind of sexual god?
Some long nights in Germany, man.
They're clearly talking about you, not me.
I think the key phrase was blew it out of proportion. Line 6, we've got Graham from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Graham, go ahead.
Hi, Dennis. How you doing, mate?
Good.
Hey, I caught you down at the MGM when I was in Vegas.
Beautiful.
And unlike most Americans, I volunteered to become a Yank. You see?
Yeah.
And like over in England, what Gary Hart did would have been nothing. And there are already so many fucking clowns in Congress, Dennis. Why don't you run? You'd make a great president.
Well,
yeah. What's your answer?
I think the most ineffectual place you could go, quite frankly, is it's just become an adversarial place down there where people align against each other. I honest to God look at people like Jimmy Carter and you, and I think there's, I see Carter putting a hammer to a nail, and I think that's probably more than he was allowed to do in 4 years in the White House. So I don't know if you really want to do something for this country if that's the place to go. We got another phone call. We got anybody? That's it. Okay. So what are you going to do in the next few years? I had so nothing there. They had a phone call up. I literally said, "Fuck it, I'm off this interview," and then they took it away. And I said, "You got to come up with another question."
I think I'm going to take over this show.
All right. Thank God, baby. I'm off to Vietnam. All right, I got to do the news. Can you stick around and watch the news? Thanks for coming on. Gary Hart, folks.